Hi YouTube, how are you doing? I'm doing okay, not too bad. Um, I wanted to talk a little bit about what I've experienced watching people that have came against me or came against other people in innocent situations and the consequences of that, how it's balanced out. And it's like, I know I'm protected because I can see how my pain causes their chaos. Have you ever noticed that? I mean, yeah, we've been around chaotic stuff and traumatic stuff from people that have done that to us. We'll just call them them. There's them and us, or us and them, like the Pink Floyd song. Because after all, we're just ordinary men, you know. But yeah, it's a real thing. The balance is of justice is a real thing. I've seen it. Um, People that have used their speech wrong and lost their voice. They've hurt people and lost their motive or their motor skills, I mean different things. It's a real thing. It's like, okay, for instance, I have somebody that doesn't understand that the amount of work I've done fighting the dark cabal. It's like when over on my Facebook, a couple people, um uh, well, yeah, it's like when the world doesn't realize that you bled for them because they don't care, because they want to take the credit for your blood. That's a pretty serious offense, when people just ignore what's actually fact, you know. It's like having kids and kids that are ungrateful to even be alive, you know. That's a big offense, you know. I mean, even to their own selves. I mean, you can't fight against what is an actual fact on this planet being put here. We're here. There's nothing we can do about it. But one thing I know that doesn't work is unhealthy, emotionally unstable people not realizing that there's consequences for their retarded actions. I'm not talking about people that are actually mentally handicapped because of some kind of physical ramification, like you're born with Down syndrome or something like that. No, I'm not talking about actual physical connected mental medical issues. I'm talking about people that make the decision to be assholes. Those are the ones I'm talking about. Now, whether or not we forgive them, that's totally up to you whether you want to or not. And I'm not going to tell anybody it's all about forgiveness and it's all about forgiving them for yourselves. And I don't believe that. It's never sat right with me. Maybe that's me. And if somebody wants to condemn me on that note, I really don't care. I'm sure I could pick you apart in a gazillion ways if given the chance. If that's all you have on me, that's good. Keep trying. Keep trying me. See what happens. Oh, and then the light changes. Woo! Seriously. That happens a little bit with me with electronic type stuff. So about a week ago, something electronic happened in Doug's car, and he comes in and he's like, why'd you do that? And I go, I didn't do anything to you, but if my mood in the atmosphere did something, that's on you, you know. I can't control that. So, and even if I could, would I? But I didn't do anything to. Now here's an example. This is not a lie. This is the truth. Some of you may not understand or know the rituals that I was put through in a Masonic lodge when I was a kid, but some of you know some of them stories, and I've got many videos talking about stuff. But one time we were up by the big lake, Lake Superior, and it was a pretty warm day. We were in a hot rod we had built, a 1948 Anglia, English Ford, um, roll bar, quick. You don't go fast for a very long time. You just, like, you know, has some get up and go, like better than passing gears. You know what I'm saying? Um, yeah. Anyway, so we're driving over this bridge. There's all that water, and water is conductive. We drive past a Masonic lodge. Now keep in mind it's like 100 degrees out. And I started getting angry. The closer we got to that lodge, and all of a sudden the electronics in our dash stuff started on fire, and the fan went out that cools the motor, and that's electronic. So we pulled into, it was like a Napa or Championato or one of them that was right next to that lodge, and to repair the car because it would have blown up too. Just like my brain was blowing up, even just going by them lodges or seeing Masons or anything like that. If I see that insignia or their Eastern Star stuff or whatever, there's some electric going on in me, and it's a real thing. And so, yeah, and that's not just the first time, but that one was actually really dangerous. But yeah, seriously. Maybe some of you have that type of effect with electronics. I was talking about the dark cabal one day, and I was sitting by a wall in my house that has no electric in it. It has no outlets in it. It's just a wall with no electric in it at all. And I was talking about them, and a bolt of electricity. You can see it in a video. I've got two of them. Um, if I run across it again, I'll share it. But it's in my videos, and you can see it's like at the 249 mark or something in my video, and I'm talking about this as I'm saying it. It's like this. It's like almost a golden flame in back of my head comes around almost like to hug me. Electric, um, fire, uh, whatever it was. I have it documented. And there's other videos I made, and people are like, there's orbs by you, floating around you. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Um, but so these things are absolutely real. Uh, what people do in the ether, and what is documented in the ether that people do that they think they're getting away with, that are like on the shady or not on the shady side, are totally shady. These jerks out there that do things to you or I. Yeah, it's real. It's documented, you know. Doug calls me like that movie Fire Starter. And you know why that little girl was a fire starter? Because they hurt her dad. Yeah, well, that's exactly my fight too. That's exactly what happened to my dad when I was a little kid. So I can totally relate. I watched a good man controlled by the dark cabal turn into a piece of shit. Yeah, he could barely even live with himself, the things that he was involved in. One time he had been outside and come back in, and it had been a really long time. I was pretty worried about him because I didn't know where he was. And come in, I said, "Yeah, I was gonna go looking for you." I said, "What were you up to?" And he's like, he was just out sitting by a tree. He said, "Talking to my God." And I laughed and I said, "Your God, huh?" I said, "It's not the same as my God." You know, he didn't answer me. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. Just wanted to talk about that a little bit today because, and you're going to have to excuse me a minute. I got some lotion I have to put on. I have skin conditions. Seriously, so pardon me 1 second. I gotta put some of my lotion on. It relieves the itch. I've been to the Mayo Clinic for allergies and stuff. I'm allergic to like all kinds of soaps and even clothing. It has to either be, if it's not 100% cotton or uh what is that called? Um Hemp, like made out of hemp. It's Muslim, I think is the name of the fabric. Yeah, if it's hemp or pardon me, um cotton, I'm good, but other things actually really irritate me, you know. So even when I wore glasses and my eyes, I had corrective lenses, and I did correct my own eyes by um putting them on, taking them off, and that type of thing. Seeing how much I could strain my eyes without needing them. And then one day I went to take my driver's license, or you know, you do the eye thing, and I said, "Well, what happens if I don't pass this without my glasses?" Well, I would have to pay for another round of it. And it's like, well, I'm gonna try it. And I passed it without my glasses, but it's the same. I shared another picture of me when I was 34 over on my Facebook today. Um, I used to have a widow's peak. Even when I was a little kid, I had a widow's peak, but I don't anymore. I haven't for about, over a couple decades. But in that picture in particular, I had just moved in here, and some of my hair was missing. I had had it pulled out, so I wasn't really feeling the best in my life. I had just been through some really gruesome stuff. So, yeah. I don't know. I was like bent over like this or something, and Doug got a picture of me, so I shared it. It's kind of a horrible picture, but not really, but sorta. Excuse me. Um, yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm not as vain or egotistical as a lot of people, and I share a lot of my life. Um, and one thing, I don't ever want to be looked upon as by anybody. is some kind of copy or blueprint thing or an example for people. Like do your own thing, you know. But yeah, I mean, in order to have a connection with people and a understanding like pain we've been through and how to work through things without becoming too animalistic, you know. That's where I'm at. That's the people I want to connect to. I mean, I like somebody tried to bait me into talking about flat earth and there's a dome and I said, "Well, you know, I agree, but what if I didn't? Can we fight anyway?" Cuz it's like the mood I'm in today, you know? Cuz and then I put cuz I really don't care, you know? That drives Doug crazy when I won't argue about flat earth. I told him, I said, I believe that it's a square with a diamond in it and a circle, and it's far more complex than what people are even gathering, you know, so, you know, that should drive him crazy. But I did see some drawings and some schematics in the lodge when I was a kid that along with different language and religion things that they were making me aware of. And the same within my church, I had access to oracles that were written. And I've told you about these books before, but they were made out of some kind of skin. They were white. I suppose it was lamb skin, like they used to make some book covers out of, but I don't know, something about it was altogether gross, and what was in there was pretty gross also. So, a lot of the nightmarish type things that you'd think you'd only hear maybe in a satanic congregation, and why? Because that's the other half of the story that's not being told. That's why, you know, it's a two-sided thing on this planet. It's an important thing to know both sides of the situation of what's going on and why people have that free will and why there's consequences to what they do. You know, it's important to have that understanding, you know, so you don't feel sorry for them when they come whining to you, you know. It's like, get the hell out of here with your shit. If you're going to cause me pain, you're going to deal with the chaos that comes from doing that. So, so there. So there you go. Yeah. Nana nana boo boo. No. Well, yeah. I told you I'm in this mood. I'll have a hit of smoke with you or by myself. Talk to you a little more in a bit here. I heard Dr. Hillman off of Lady Babylon was talking about going Brother Loves Travel Traveling Salvation Show. Does anybody remember that song? Pack up the babies and grab the old ladies and everyone goes. 'Cause everyone knows Brother Love shows. Hallelujah. Anyway, um, he's talking about going on the road teaching people about the real Jesus that was caught in the garden with a naked boy with a medicated bandage on his yoo-hoo, because they did rituals back in them days that you've seen with your own eyes that rabbis were doing. You've seen it. Of course you have. If you haven't seen it, read the Talmud. That'll or mud, whatever you want to call it, piece of shit book that they follow. Yeah. And enlighten yourself to my anger and what I've lived through. People think it's a game. They think, oh, well, we'll just ignore her, or we'll just pretend that we developed a system, or we are the ones that got this information out for everybody. She didn't bleed for it. She didn't actually work for it. It was just given to her. Yeah, well, I'm going to treat you the same way. It's going to be a great big off in the end. And that's what people get when you're disrespected. You don't put up with that shit. And whatever comes out of you comes out of you. Don't water yourself down or let them even bait you into, like, oh, there you went low. No, you brought me there, and then I fought because I didn't want to be there. There's a big difference. I didn't start my day going low. I was kidnapped into it, sold, child trafficked. So no, I didn't take myself anywhere. But I sure the fucking climbing my way out, clawing out of a grave that I've been stuck in. And ghosts don't go away, so there you go, enjoy yourself. Because everything that's done is recorded. People are just finding that out right now. Even my own kids are finding that out right now. That's sad, but that's the way it is. They made themselves my enemy. And guess what? I don't care. I've gotten to the point where it's not cold, but it's not warm either, you know? The only thing they are to me is a couple of cute kids that used to be in my life. And that's how cold I become when I turn my emotions off. They're still there for the right people. People like you or I, if you're like that, and you can relate to going through deep, dark pain and not inflicting it on other people. Yeah. If you're one of them, you hear me. Those are eyes to see and ears to hear. That's what that means. Because I heard a good one today is true. Um, Light is forged in the dark. It's forged in hell. And I was. And they still can't take that out of me. They can try and copy all they want, but you can't copy a soul. You earn dignity. It's not just a given. And guess what? If you use foul language, that doesn't mean you don't have dignity. That just means you're having a moment in your day where you're sick of the fucking shit and you're finally standing up for yourself, if not other people. Those are the people I'm standing up for. I'm not standing up for these whiny ass babies that would never give a shit about another person on this planet. I know Dr. Ullman doesn't take money, but if I could pay him to come and give a sermon to Doug exclusively for an hour, that would make my whole life. And then pay him another hour or just to get in, just to understand, or no, that's not even the word. Um, I don't guess I don't really even need words for what's going on in somebody's brain. But it would be nice to talk to somebody on that level with that understanding of how the scriptures have been twisted. And yeah, he sometimes screams about it because it does. When we've been affected in our lives by the shit that's happened to us, makes you scream. If you can't scream out loud, you know you're screaming inside, you know? I'm having one of those days. I'm screaming inside. Excuse me a moment. I got this yesterday. I just got my big comfy shirt on and I thought, oh, I'm not worried about it today. Here I am. I got just a cheapo. If you can see that. Yeah, just one of them. I'll set it up later. I got the USB, or not the USB, what do you call it? The SIM card for it from my other one, but I gotta put I could have did an unboxing video. I thought about it, but it's kind of a nice. I had one before. I had a little pink one that was just like that. Not too bad. It's okay. Excuse me. It'll get me out and about. I want to show you our creek was an old volcano. And when the great glaciers moved out of this area of North America, it exposed some really beautiful lava rocks and agates, but you can just see how the mouth of it was right there before it was a creek, and it comes out of a cliff out of the ground. It's pretty cool. Then flows into a creek, into a lake, and into a river, into another lake, and yeah, eventually into the Mississippi. But so I'm gonna get back there before the bugs get out really bad around my area here, because then you could potentially be eaten alive just by mosquitoes down there. Unless we were like camping out there and made like a fire and the smoke would keep all the bugs away. But I'm not going to be doing that. I'm just going to go for a walk and show you my sandy beach on my creek under a willow tree and that dormant volcano. It's pretty cool. This is right out that window, about 75 feet. There's a little patch of woods and then the creek. So I'll be showing you that. I've taken videos of it from the road, but haven't walked back there with my camera. Not for a while. I was there a couple years ago. I went through there, and on some of our land, the neighbor kid built a little, like a hunting shack. They didn't know it was our land, so we got a hunting shack back there. Well, they do, but yeah, whatever. We had a couple little, not altercations, but explanations of the magnetic readings that we have are actually magnetic, and it was surveyed. And they're in the ground around our property, so it's like, yeah, we have it surveyed off, show exactly what we own and what we don't. So yeah, we made that clear to them that they had to move a couple of their things, you know. That, I don't know if it's still there. Maybe. And there was some car out there for a while, like abandoned. The kids used it for a party shack. You could hear them like bonfires and music, and hey, good for them, whatever, you know. But as long as they're not too crazy, you know. Well, I'm going to get this uploaded. I appreciate you joining me. I just wanted to touch on that. I don't care about people that do cruel things to other people and ignorant things and belittling and dismissive and all that bullshit. And they're bullshit. And whenever you come across that bullshit, confront it. I mean, yeah, it's easy to walk away. And silence is golden, right? Yeah, but so are words when they're well placed and they cut and they cut deep, and don't let them go unscathed. Cut the fuckers up, 'cause that's what they deserve. Rip them up. Forgive them and then rip them up. you know. Peace and love from Pine City, Minnesota, USA. Have a beautiful weekend. I love y'all.